13th Governing Board meeting to begin. It's nice to see everybody out there. We've missed you. It's been a long, hot summer. So welcome. Thank you for being here. Mrs. Hahn? Present?
Present.
Here.
All right. I have asked our DECA and our high school student council to please stand and lead us into the Pledge of Allegiance. Go ahead. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for doing that. It's wonderful to see all these fabulous high school students in our audience, knowing that you are going to be future citizens and community members and future board members. So, a little bit of a plug. All right, do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
We have a motion. Is there a second? And a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. That brings us to our call to the public. I do have speaker cards. If you have, is there anybody that would like to fill one of these out? They are out in the foyer on the table out there. If you'll fill one out so we can have your name and topic so we know can follow up with you after the meeting, which is what we like to do if need be. We'd like to remind you that members of the board may not discuss and are not specifically identified on the agenda. Therefore, pursuant to ARS 38431, action taken as a result of public comment will be limited to directing staff to study the matter, respond to any criticism, or scheduling the matter for future agenda. The board requests that all comments please be limited to 3 minutes or less, and that the public refrain from the use of speech or language that is offensive or inappropriate pursuant to board policy KFA. So when you come up, I'll call you, and when you come up, please state your name so that we have that for the record. So the first one I have is Samantha Dugan and Student Council. Is that what that means? Stuco?
Does it have to like?
No, take it off the, you have to get on your knees. I know, I'm on a roll. That's what happens when I don't have a meeting for a couple months.
All right, I am Samantha Dugan. I am the student body president at Maricopa High School. I have CJ Lores with me, our spirit commissioner, and Juan, it's Perez, right? Reese, I'm sorry. Juan Reese, our student body vice president. Just like to say I'm very excited for my senior year and Maricopa High School's year this year. We've got homecoming approaching very fast, the first week of September. On our main events, we have a parade, bonfire, and district-wide Spirit Week. Our parade and bonfire is going to be on September 3rd. It's a Wednesday. This year, we're also going to do the second annual Paint the Town Red Week. We'd like to go out to businesses, see if they'll promote, put up Ram signs, go red, black, and white, get excited for the school year. And we would like to invite all of you to attend, participate, and help us spread the word of Maricopa High School's Homecoming Week 2014. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming and bringing that to our attention. We appreciate it. Next one I have is Kevin Banding and the DECA Club. Kevin, I've known you for a long time. I had you in kindergarten. We've come a long way, huh?
Kevin Bandine, as you know. This is Micah Buchanan. He's our enterprise manager. It's Matthew Hall. He's our assistant manager. Assistant manager. And that's Devon Sutton. He's our chief financial officer. And basically, we just want to tell you a little bit about what DECA's been doing and how we've been doing as a club. We've had a really good year so far.
Can you put the mic up to your,
Oh.
I know.
Yeah, my bad.
No, you're,
We've had a really good year so far. We've more than doubled the amount of students in our marketing class. We have over 130 students just in the classes. We hope to get at least 40 more members and have 170 at large just in the club competing, having a good time. We have an awesome semester planned with lots of events and opportunities for all of our DECA members, not just for those in the class, including like market days, stuff like that, just ways to get them into marketing and DECA, get them excited about the club. We also have a lot of awesome trips and opportunities like that planned. Like the first one we have coming up is our DECA Olympics camp for the DECA officers, where we can bond and learn a lot more about DECA from other DECA students and chapters. We also have like a trip to New York planned, hopefully, WRLC, which is in California, and ICDC in Orlando. So hopefully that all turns up good. And Micah Buchanan is here, is going to share our annual report, which highlights all the great things that happened in DECA the last year. And we're hoping we're going to do even better this year. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you very much, Kevin. I appreciate you all coming up here. I know we've gone and attended some DECA things. I'm very impressed. Okay, Bernadette Russinello. And then Joshua Judd will be after Bernadette.
I'm Bernadette Russinello, and I am a 14-year veteran teacher at MUSD and a, 12-year community resident of Maricopa. I just wanted to take a few minutes to talk about the override for this coming school year. I've been with MUSD for 14 years, and I can honestly say that every year our district gets better and better and better. And oftentimes we do this each year with less and less. I've made the investment and the commitment to raising my family of 4 children in MUSD and in our Maricopa community. I'm very grateful to Chin for their support over the years of our district, and I just want to say to the public of Maricopa that now it's time for the entire Maricopa community to support our local schools. We're working hard in our school district to deliver the absolutely best schools and best programming for students. I have the privilege of working with the leaders that just spoke with you, and they're amazing kids. Our future is in great hands, and I just wanted to appeal to the community for a yes vote for the upcoming override election. Thank you.
Thank you, Bernadette. Joshua? And then June?
Good evening. My name is Joshua Judd. Good evening, Dr. Chestnut, Ms. Anderson, and other board members. I almost every month, with the exception of last month and being on vacation, have been up here speaking about the override, trying to give what information I know to residents of Maricopa, some statistics, people that may not be aware of. Although I'm a little unsettled right now after following the DECA Club, I feel substantially underdressed and almost underqualified.
This is a formal meeting.
So what I wanted to share was the misunderstanding maybe about the way our tax dollars are used, the way our tax dollars are collected, and the way the state of Arizona spends its money on our school systems. Some people may think, and hopefully if residents of Maricopa have been reading the paper, they're starting to see the statistics over and over again about how we are almost dead last in funding in the country, how Maricopa sits outside the average body of students not receiving an override currently. So not only are we in one of the least funded states in the country, but also one of the least funded towns in Arizona. I try to square these numbers in my head, and I try to research them, and I try to figure out what's the reason for that. Why is that? Is there an explainable reason for that? And I haven't found one yet, but I'm continuing to look. Our per capita income, you would think maybe a reason that we are almost dead last in spending on education in the country, that maybe it's in kind with our per capita income. Maybe that's a reason, but that's not the case. Again, another one of the statistics that is constantly befuddling me why we are dead last. We're almost dead center in the country. Per capita income is 30th. We are 30th out of 50. So we are making about average, but not spending anywhere near average on our school system. The same goes for tax collection. We are ranked not quite as high as per capita, but 39th in tax collection, but yet 47th in per pupil expenditure. So as I continue to look at these numbers, I cannot come up with a reason why they sit the way they do. But the one option that Maricopa has as a resident of Maricopa is to vote for this override. It's the only amount of power that we have. It's the only thing that parents can do to increase the amount of funds that our schools are going to receive, and it's absolutely vital. It's vital that you go out and vote. It's vital that you talk with your friends, with your family, and convince them to vote in favor of the override. Thank you.
Thank you, Joshua. Student Celaya. Ms. Safranek will be next.
Good evening, President Anderson, members of the board, Dr. Chestnut. I wanted to spend a moment today. First of all, I live at Maricopa. That is my address. It's Maricopa High School. This is my 7th year in the community as being the principal of Maricopa High School. And I wanted to advocate for the override because I think tonight you had a great example of what the schools are doing. You've seen Ms. Rossinello. You have wonderful students that are products of your educational system here. And I feel like our district has grown and has stepped up to the challenge that the community has given us to do great things. We've grown our district, we've grown our schools, and we're doing some wonderful things. And it's unsettling to hear all those statistics. And I think at one point I heard the statistic that in the state of Arizona, we are 47th, I think, somewhere around there. And we would have to have a 42% increase to meet the average per capita or per pupil spending. We would have to increase our spending 42% to meet that average across the nation. With that said, he is right. The only option we have is for our community to begin to support us. I feel like we've stepped up to that challenge. I think our kids have, our teachers have, our staff has, and our district has. And I would like to see that growth happen. We cannot rely on Auction all the time. They are so gracious in helping us. And now it's time, I just feel like that the community has to help us and support us because we're here for them. Good schools, good real estate property, great real estate prices when you support the schools, right? And so I just think that that needs to happen, and I really want to support that. So I'm encouraging everyone to vote. Please tell your parents and everybody that's living in the community of Maricopa and folks that are owning homes here, very fortunate, there's some beautiful homes, to please vote and support the schools and support their community and the continued growth. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy. Ava Safranek, and then Randy Lazar.
Eva Shafranik. I'm here to speak to you today as a parent as well as an employee of MUSD regarding the upcoming override. My child is attending Santa Rosa. He's a first grader. He is going to be in MUSD for many years to come. And you've heard a lot about and from our secondary schools, but from in our elementary schools, we really would like to bring our class sizes down, especially in the K2. Having kindergarten classes at 30, that's a rough start for our kids that are starting school, and so helping through override and additional funding, those would be some of the options. Looking also at our students who are gifted, that we are really not providing any additional support to is something that we would be able to do with additional override funding. Currently our gifted students, their education is differentiated in the classroom, but there is a lot more that we could be doing to support them and help them reach their fullest potential. So I would also like to appeal to our Maricopa community. As a resident living here the last 7 years, we live in a wonderful town. Our district has grown. We have excellent schools. We are on par with districts around us, but we can always do better, and our override would allow us to do that. So hope that everyone goes out to vote and vote yes on the upcoming override. Thank you.
Randy. And this is my last speaker card, unless there's any more floating around out there that we'd like to. Okay.
President, members of the board, Dr. Chestnut, my name is Randy Lazar, and I come to you as a private citizen in support of the override election this November. You know, the override's going to allow our budget to be increased by 5% for 7 years, which would bring in $1.5 million annually, which would allow Maricopa Unified School District to add 22 additional teachers to help reduce class sizes, and you've heard that mentioned a few times already this evening. It also would allow us to have 3 additional support staff to help those additional teachers, and it would also provide additional funds for technology. As an educator over the last 27 years, I can see what a difference class sizes make on student achievement. When the class sizes are very large, especially at the younger grade levels where they're over 30, 32 kids in these primary grades, it makes it very difficult not only for the teacher to work with the students, but also for the students to get a very intensive education, which they really need during those primary years. So the success of the override would really allow those class sizes to be reduced so that the students can get a high quality education. And also, over the last 27 years, Maricopa has really changed from being a K-8 elementary school and a high school with very few housing developments around here or even businesses to now where there are over 9 schools and a town with approximately over 40,000 plus individuals. With that change and with that growth comes additional needs for additional funding to support the schools so that the schools can be more successful at providing a high quality education for the students here in Maricopa. So I would just urge all of the registered voters of Maricopa to support the override election in November. Thank you.
Any other takers for call to the public? All right, we will move on then. Dr. Chestnut, Superintendent's report.
Thank you, President Anderson, members of the board. Quite a few things to report on because it's been a pretty busy previous 8 days. We're in the 8th day of the school year, a lot of exciting things to report on. And first is this new information we just received. So really to start, I want to talk about last year. These were the results from ACT tests taken by our students last spring. And ACT is one of the 2 major tests that students take if they're college bound, and we had some pretty good results. Most exciting of all is that we had a record number of students take the ACT. We had 102. Last year we had 72, and about 4 years ago we had about 26. So what that tells me is that we have a lot more students thinking about college. If you're thinking about college, you need to take one of these college entrance tests, especially if you're thinking about a 4-year university. And so it's really good that our students are challenging themselves and taking those tests, and it's wonderful to see that number increase. So the numbers, the bar charts there kind of speak for themselves. We're above the state average in reading and science, and we're in the ballpark for English and math. In fact, there is a composite score that ACT comes up with combining all 4 of those, and we are exactly equal to the state average on the composite score, although I didn't show it on this graph. Last year we were above the state average on 3 out of the 4 tests, still very respectable with 2 results, 2 score averages being above the state average. So I think that's something to celebrate, and especially the larger number of students taking that test. August 1st was our MUSD back to school meeting, and kind of an annual tradition. And it's a fun morning, a great way to start the school year. And 2 days a year we get together as an entire staff in the Performing Arts Center at the high school. And so it's fun to do that at the start of the school year. And you can see in the upper left-hand corner the tradition is that schools wear their new team T-shirt, and Maricopa High School staff was wearing their red ones. Not, you never get 100% of the staff to do that, but still, a lot of them, they were in the middle and surrounded by different colors. Upper right, you can see we had a benefits fair. Mr. Beckett puts that together from the HR department, and just different options with benefits and even universities and just different things that teachers need to know about. That's available ahead of time, so that's a good informational session. Bottom left is probably the most important thing. That's just mingling and renewing old friendships and a little socializing. Then bottom right, that is our food service department, and you get a deluxe snack to take with you. We don't call it a breakfast because that really wouldn't be accurate, but it is a snack, and we send people out and get started after about a 45-minute meeting. And the highlight of the meeting was that we were able to congratulate our 2013-14 highly effective and or 100% academic achievement teachers. You'll recall that we are in a new state evaluation system for teachers and principals, and we were part of the pilot project for the state of Arizona for the last 2 years to do a test run on this new system. And one of the requirements is that part of a teacher's evaluation and part of a principal's evaluation has to do with student achievement, growth and student achievement. And it's not easy to reach a 100% goal with all of your students meeting that target. And they're all individualized and that kind of thing, but there's a total of 29 teachers that either reached 100% of the academic goals or were rated highly effective by their principals. And it's very hard to get rated highly effective. That's the new system. To get a 4, which is the number equivalent to highly effective, is difficult. And there were a few teachers that did both. They were rated highly effective and had 100% achievement, but we gave each of them a certificate, and it was really fun to be able to recognize some of our best teachers. And I also know that we have a lot of really, really good teachers that, we're not part of that group of 29, but those are the ones that really stood out from last year's eval. So that was fun to start that way. I also reminded staff about our strategic plan, our 4 goals, and the new update on the action steps to make those goals a reality are now posted on the website. You're welcome to go there. We had about 45 action plans to bring these goals to reality, and we made significant progress or accomplished 35 or 38 of them, I think. And so we're going to continue to work on this, and it doesn't solve all of our problems, but it keeps us focused, and we're making good progress. I think it's helping us. And number 1 goal is to improve student learning and become an A-rated school district. And so I think we're making progress on that goal, which is really our number 1 goal, and I'll come back and talk about that in a moment. Also talked about the 5 staff expectations that I have of all staff members, whether teachers, support staff, administrators. It's the same list I've had ever since I arrived 2 years ago. And so I tried not to be boring and just talk about each one, but I did highlight number 4 and just remind people that, we really do need to have excellent customer service, because that's the environment that we live in. We compete with 5 traditional charter schools here in Maricopa, and then we compete very heavily with Kyrene Elementary School District and Tempe Union High School District. And the one thing that we can continually improve on and really outshine the competition on is customer service. And I think we do a really good job in this area. I hear stories, really kind of inspiring stories weekly of great things that are happening. I heard several this week. And I think our staff really does understand that that's a tough challenge, but we're working on it. We're trying to get even better. And we have a lot of customers. Students are our customers, parents, the community. If you're a support staff member, other employees are your customers. So we have a lot of them, and we'll continue to work on that. On the same day that school started, on August 4th, Arizona Department of Education announced school and district letter grades. So we had some exciting news from that. And first up, Santa Cruz improved their grade from a C to a B and improved 18 points. There's a kind of a composite score based on Ames test data that each school gets, and to grow 18 points in 1 year is pretty remarkable. And very proud of the good work being done at Santa Cruz. MES improved their letter grade from a C to a B. They improved 24 points, which is pretty amazing. And just great work being done by the MES staff. Obviously the students, parents, it's a team effort. We're very proud of those two schools for increasing their letter grades. And I'm gonna give you a tip. We had 2 that went down, and that's okay. But I'll come back and talk more about why that's okay. Butterfield, same as last year, 135, and they are only 5 points away from being an A school, and they're pretty focused on doing that. Pima Butte maintained their A status. Very proud of Pima Butte. That's a streak, 5 consecutive years. That is not easy to do. Santa Rosa maintained their B, and B is a good grade. Very proud of the good work being done at Santa Rosa. Saddleback did drop from a B to a C, and Saddleback is, they're doing the right things to get that B back, and they that is their goal. And after that, to get A status. Desert Wind Middle School increased 3 points, maintained their C grade. Desert Wind Maricopa Wells Middle School increased 15 points. They are only 4 points away from being a B. I'm extremely proud of them. I kind of put red letters on the schools that I kind of gave me goosebumps when I saw the increase in scores. And it's wonderful if you increase 1 or 2, don't get me wrong, but the remarkable progress by those 3 schools is really something to celebrate. Maricopa High School dropped from a B to a C. They dropped 2 points. 120 is the dividing line, so it's not as if there's a big problem at Maricopa High School. But they didn't make the B, and sometimes that happens, So they're quite determined to get that back. I think they will. I think we're doing the right things to make that happen. But the best news of all is the bottom line on this report, and that is our district grade. We maintained the B, but we increased 7 points, which is not easy to move a system with 9 schools and 6,000 students, improve student achievement across the board. And so I'm very proud of that progress. We're no longer on the bubble of being a B. We're in solid B category there, and we want to improve that to an A eventually. And to do that, you got to keep moving up, and we're definitely going in the right direction. So it reflects a lot of great work being done by our staff on a daily basis last year. And as I've been in schools last week and this week, it's happening this year too. So we do have to stop and celebrate Pima Butte Elementary a little bit. Congratulations to them. It's pretty remarkable to be an A school for 5 consecutive years. That is not easy to do. And so thank you to Randy Lazar, who's here tonight, for his leadership. His first year as principal there, did a great job of continuing that tradition. And that's not the only way we measure our success around here, but it gets a lot of publicity. And so we want to certainly recognize schools that really excel. And then also, they were named a high-performing school for 2 consecutive years by the Arizona Business Education Coalition, and that recognition they announced in about October, I think, somewhere in there. And so we're hoping that's going to be 3 consecutive years, and we'll find out and let you know about that. Very proud of Pima Butte. Some other new things, we have new web pages at our website, musd20.org. That is what the homepage of the district and each school now looks like. And we are still in the process of gearing this up. Our website last year, was really, had a ton of information, and we added more all the time. But we're still gearing up, and this is a work in progress. But we think it'll be worth it. We think when we get done, it'll be a better website. Also, I want to remind people, since it's the start of the school year, that we have an app. And you can get it in the App Store for Apple phones, iPhones, or Androids in the Google Play Store. So that's a handy tool for parents. You can get Parent View on your mobile phone that way. We have had a few problems last week and this week with Parent View on the app. But Christian Moore is one of our tech guys in the back room and here tonight, and told me that that has been resolved for the app. And so there were some problems with a certificate that appeared and that kind of thing, but we worked through it with the engineers. Thanks to Christian Moore for making that happen. We did have some similar problems on if you were just going from a regular computer also, but we're working on those, and Christian thought that might be resolved this afternoon, so I haven't had a chance to check on that, but we're on it, we're working on it. We even had to get an engineer with the vendor to work on this, but we think we're going to be fine there, and we want to encourage parents to use those tools because they're very helpful. Also, a couple other things, kind of to start the school year. I want to say thanks for the school supplies to Wells Fargo Bank and Maricopa Chamber of Commerce. Very helpful and appreciated. There's always kids that just need some supplies. We have some kids that, are coming from a poor family, and they just need some help. And it's nice to be able to get those supplies out to the kids that need them, and we really appreciate that gesture from those two groups. And enrollment. So that's always kind of a hot topic this time of year. So here it is. Elementary, those are the numbers, and just to keep track of numbers, we have the 6 elementary schools listed there, and then we track the ESS, Exceptional Student Services, students that are self-contained programs, and our preschool students. We track them separately, even though the Exceptional Student Services students are housed at Maricopa Elementary School. Preschool students are housed at Saddleback this year. So it's not a 7th school. I just want to make that clear. So the total there adds up to 3,434 students is what we have, and we projected 3,361. So we're about 80, 70, 80 students above what we projected, which is a good problem to have. And a little growth there in the elementary schools. Secondary level, similar situation. We projected, similar in the sense that we have a lot of kids. We have 2,631, and we projected only 6 more. So I guess we're not over on the projection, but we're pretty darn close to what we projected. And then, so the grand total is 6,065 is our current enrollment as of today. Actually, I saw a late afternoon report that actually I think bumped that by 2 students at the high school. So I think we're only, we're really getting close to that projected number. And we projected under 6,000, 5,998. So we got to go back and double check, but we think this is the first time since 2008 that we've been above 6,000 students in the first 2 weeks of school. So definitely some growth that's we've been experiencing in the last couple of years, and it's manageable growth. It's not exponential, and so it's a good problem to have, and glad to see all the students coming back to us. And then I think I have, I think that's it. That concludes my report.
Well, that's encouraging. That's good news. Yeah. Okay, thank you, Dr. Chestnut. That brings us to governing board member reports. I do have a couple things, so who wants to lead off? Okay. I know you think I just sit home all summer and didn't do anything, but there was many things going on. We did have Arizona School Board Association had their summer leadership this summer, and it was for 4 days. And then I also serve on the Arizona School Board Association Board of Directors, so I had those meetings also. And the good pieces are that at one opportunity I was able to lead a group of other board members from across the state. So we had Pinell County board members in this conference, and we also had Coconino County, which 2 different demographics. But it was really wonderful to be able to share and find out what their issues are and what our issues were, and how can we as board members help each other out and share and partner and come up with some solutions to some of our common issues. One of those being teacher shortage, which is across the state. The other one that kind of made me smile is that Coconino County, which is up by the Grand Canyon, does not have any internet. So their schools are trying to operate sometimes even without phone service. So it was very interesting and worthwhile to actually share what their hardships are, and it made our hardships look minuscule. We need to be grateful for what we've got. I think we're on a wonderful path, but it really helps put into perspective how wonderful our district is, but also how we can help other school board members kind of fight that fight, and how do they get internet up there. So if you have any ideas, email me. There's our email addresses. But that was very worthwhile. I enjoy leading groups and discussions and coming up with some problems and brainstorming some solutions. So it's a worthwhile event. We do have another one coming up in September. The other plug I wanted to put in is on October 21st in Florence, we will be having our Pinell County ASBA Directors Conference, which I plan and direct. And the nice thing about that is it's going to be at Florence Post and Butte High School, which is their newest high school out there, so they're going to show us some of their technology. But the other part of that is it's on a Tuesday, At 5 o'clock, all of the prospective candidates for school board all across the whole county will be there, and there will be a free workshop, it's going to talk about boardsmanship and really what you do as a board member and kind of what the rules are for open meeting laws. So it's a great opportunity for any prospective board members who are listening, because I know they've been watching board meetings, to plan on October 21st to attend that. And if you need information on that, you can email me. We're in the process of planning that. So it's a good opportunity to kind of meet some of the other board members and share information, which is what keeps us going. So that first week of school, I think, was phenomenal. I didn't have any phone calls, so that's a good thing. So kudos to the teachers and administrators who made that happen. The kids all came home happy, and that's what we want. So thank you.
Let's see. I also attended the same conference with Mrs. Anderson, and I did bring back some information, which I distributed to all the board members, some of the handouts. It was a great conference. It always is. I was been able to attend the homecoming planning. I've been on this committee, and I have to tell you how excited the community members are about this. This is going to probably be one of the best homecoming weeks we're going to have, and they're hitting the ground running because they don't have a lot of time to do that. So they're hoping the business community will come out and decorate their storefronts. All the kids at all the schools will participate in the Spirit Days. The alumni game, unfortunately, I'm going to miss because we'll be at the law conference, but I'm coming back for the homecoming game. I'm not spending the night Friday night, so I have my cowbell ready. We're ready for football season. I also attended the back-to-school night. I have the privilege of having a child in every level of school this year. So that was interesting, and I am going to take a plea now to all the administrators. Please do not schedule this stuff on the same night. I am good, but I am not that good. So, and that's it.
That leaves me last. I attended the back-to-school bash for the Auction Indian community at the end of July. And what that is a huge party, I guess you could call it, barbecue. We get together, the whole entire community operations and the community members and residents and everybody get together. And there's a great big kind of a carnival type of thing. All the community departments get together. They have booths with games and fun activities, school supplies. There's swimming, there's barbecuing. It's a really, really fun time for the kids. And they all had a really good time. And a lot of good school supplies got distributed, backpacks, that kind of thing. So we've got our Native American students ready to start for school. And on the note of homecoming, I wasn't able to make the meeting for the homecoming planning, but I have been in touch with the Auction Indian Community Director, Education Director, and we are trying to get more of our Native American students involved with this homecoming event. It is a really fun time, and back when I was in school, that was like everybody got together and did that kind of stuff, and I really want to see that unification with all of our kids together. So hopefully we can get something together with our Auction Indian students and maybe their Auction royalty and get out there for homecoming.
I got my letter sweater from high school. It probably does still fit. All right, thank you very much. As you can see, we're all very actively involved in our communities, and we take pride in our students. So if you have things that are going on in your schools, in your community, please email us and let us know. We like to get out to as many things as possible throughout the year. So thank you. All right, information work study. Dr. Chestnut, or do you want Mr. Beckett to come up?
Well, I'll be glad to make the introductions. We've been talking about our 301 plan, and Mr. Beckett has led the committee that has developed that plan for the last several years. And normally, we start that process about now, and I think the final plan is presented to the board generally in October, somewhere in there. But the request of the board was to move that timeline up, and Mr. Beckett and the committee did a great job of doing that last spring. They have a draft plan that he's going to talk to us about. So thank you, Mr. Beckett.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Dr. Chestnut. President Anderson, members of the board, you have in front of you tonight the draft that this the committee has worked on. We have, I think, about a half dozen meetings that we ended up hosting. We believe the plan that we have tonight makes us compliant with the new requirements through Arizona Revised Statute. We also think it simplifies the process significantly. Much of the data that we were collecting through the 301 former plans is now actually contained in the evaluation instrument itself. And so the thought was, let's just combine the documents together. Really, much of the same information overlaps. This then allows us then to cut down paperwork. We think it gives a clear indication then to teachers as well of what the expectation is on how they're going to earn their money. And so as you can see on that second page, the award criteria lays out that the highly effective teacher and also the effective teacher would earn 100% of the potential allocation. Then a partially effective teacher would earn 75%, and unfortunately then an ineffective teacher would not earn anything, as again this is a reflection of performance. So this is the plan that again has been formulated. It has been forwarded to staff for input, and we felt it was appropriate to come in tonight and present it to the board for your input as well.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, absolutely.
I like what I read. I think that the committee has stepped up teacher expectations. I like the way it's streamlined. It's aligned with their evaluation that's already happening, which makes it easier for our evaluators. I just have I think that teachers who are highly effective teachers deserve more because they obviously are going over and above what needs to be done. So is it possible, and this is just a suggestion, because you have to take it back to the committee, right?
We can, yes.
Well, I just wonder, is it possible, because I know that most of our teachers are effective teachers, which it's hard to even meet the effective criteria. But the partially effective, my suggestion would be to decrease that to 65% and then add that 10% to highly effective teachers, so that those teachers who go over and above and are highly effective kind of get a bonus, kind of a recognition. I think that is pretty outstanding, and we want all of our teachers to strive for that. So would it be possible to do highly effective teachers would earn 110%, effective teachers would still stay the 100, and your partially effective teachers would decrease to 65%? Just to, I just, in seeing the highly effective teachers we've had this year, it's like you hand them the certificate. It would be great to be able to hand them a bonus because they were outstanding. I would just like to strive, give a little bit of a carrot to our other teachers that do that.
All right. Yes, certainly we can take that back to them.
Okay.
If I can just make one statement, one of the things that is clear in the Danielson model, and they talk about this frequently whenever they in-service teachers on it, highly effective is a place you visit.
Right.
It's not where you live. And so the thought was, and again, this was brought up. We had talked about an additional tier for the highly effective teachers. The committee at that point in time was not in favor of that. So, but again, we can bring this back in front of them, obviously with your input. I can't guarantee anything, but again, we will put forward what the committee recommends, and then obviously it's going to come back to you for final approval eventually.
Okay. It was just, I wish we could pay our teachers more than what they get. So this is just a way for them to earn that 110% because they are outstanding.
Okay.
Mr. Beckett,
yes.
When will this go to the staff to vote? Because they have to have a 70% buy-in, is that what it is?
That is correct. And actually, going to the staff was going to be contingent upon tonight's discussion. If we needed to meet again with the committee, we're going to go ahead and do that. And it sounds like, that's what you'd like us to do. We'll go ahead and meet with the committee on probably an upcoming Wednesday. Once we finalize that meeting, and I have a concrete plan that really has your input as well as staff's input, we'll take that then to the staff for their ratification vote.
I'm just curious to hear what their thoughts are on that, but
Yeah.
I just would like to see those teachers be rewarded.
Yeah. My hope is that we finish this up before the end of the month.
Okay. Thank you for listening.
Oh, you bet.
Any other questions for Mr. Beckett? All right, thank you for getting this done. We are way ahead of schedule, and I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, 5B. That would be you, Dr. Chestnut.
5B and 5C are really
Yeah.
identical, kind of a pair. And kind of interesting background on this policy. For many years, the practice of our district has been to allow 12-month employees who leave the district Could be maybe they've only worked here 2 or 3 years and they leave for another position, or maybe they're retiring. But in any case, when 12-month employees leave the district, they're able to cash in unused vacation days. Now, obviously, that would include teachers because they're not 12-month employees, but it includes administrators, it includes classified managers, it includes some secretary positions. It just kind of varies on the positions, but we have a number of people that work 12 months. That's a very common practice in business and industry, and it's actually a very common practice in K-12 education nationwide and in our region in the state of Arizona. Many of the surrounding districts follow this same practice. But Mr. Roush brought this to my attention and said that, he would feel more comfortable if the board made a policy decision on this. And it's not required that there be a policy decision, but it's good practice. It's nice to be able to tell an auditor that we have a policy in place to do the things that we're doing, right? Especially when it comes to money. So I got to say this is a difficult thing for me to bring to you or recommend, because I am very much in favor of improving benefit packages for all of our employees. And if you recall, about a year ago, I brought a policy recommendation that we increase administrative vacation to 24 days, increase it by 4 days, because that was in line with what a lot of other districts did. And, I think our principals in particular work hard. We want to encourage them to use those vacation days, fall break, winter break, spring break, and summer, and try and get out of the office. And I think that makes them better employees. So those are the kinds of things I believe in very much. This policy is a little bit different, and that is that really it's not benefiting somebody that's going to stay with us, right? It's benefiting somebody that's going to leave us, and it really becomes a financial situation. And in my judgment, my recommendation would be that we not continue this practice. We wrote up the language to allow it, all right, just to get the ball rolling. We had the first reading last meeting, and as President Anderson and I talked about this meeting, we realized we weren't ready for a decision. We thought we needed a work study session just to talk it through a little bit. The one thing that I would recommend that we leave in there, however, is that when we have an employee that retires from our district, I think it is very important that they are allowed to cash in unused vacation days, because someone in that category has I think really earned that recognition. But I also have to say that the primary goal in all of this is to get people to use their vacation. I mean, that's the idea. I think people are better when they get out of the office, use their vacation days, and that kind of thing. Another reason why this is a little tough for me to talk about is that the contract that you approved for me at the last meeting includes the ability to cash in vacation on an annual basis. So that's an example of the fact that that's a very common practice for superintendent contracts everywhere, and it's common for them to be in there. So it's probably a little bit hypocritical for me to say, well, this isn't good for everybody else, but it's good for me. And I recognize that conflict, and I just wanted to speak to that and let you know that that is definitely a kind of a conflict. But I think it just goes back to the idea that we want to encourage people to use vacations. I think we give them the warning, give them notice now. It's early in the school year. If somebody was planning to, utilize this and cash that in for whatever reason when they left, then at least they would have some time to get those vacation days used. The one possible abuse isn't the right word. The one possible problem this could cause is, let's say somebody, decides to take another job, and then we just don't see them, for the entire month of June because they're using, in fact, from May 15th on, they just don't show up. They would have the right to do that. They would have the right to use those vacation days. And that is a possibility. My experience over the years has been that that's really not an issue. If somebody is planning to do something like that, oftentimes that does happen when somebody retires, but they generally will work out a plan with you to say, I really do want to not be here the last 6 weeks. I've got those vacation days, and can we work that out? And generally the answer is yes. But that is a possibility that somebody could, maybe be mad at us for whatever reason and leave, and that wouldn't be good. But honestly, I think that those kind of situations are few and far between. So that's some of the background, and I'd be interested to hear what your thoughts are, because the goal would be to, based on our discussion tonight, bring this back for a final reading at the next meeting.
If the purpose is that we want our employees to use their vacation during that year that they've earned it, then why do we let them carry over days?
Well, I think that's, it's longstanding practice, very common practice, and I think it's a good one. There are times when you want to do a special thing. Maybe you have a family reunion that you're going to go to, and then you still want to take kind of the normal vacation days you do. You want to take 2 weeks in the summer where you normally take a week, something like that. I think that's the kind of thing that allows, that I think is good. And then you can never have on the books more than 30, right? So
Right.
it doesn't ever get to be a giant number.
They can only carry over, what, 9 days from year to year? Isn't it?
6.
10 days.
10
They carry over
days.
10 days.
I was close.
Close?
This says only 6.
Okay. So they generally will use their vacation day during the year, and they can only carry over, it's not like they can carry over the whole 24 days. They can only carry over a
No,
few days.
but the policy change here is basically saying that, you know, if you quit, you're not going to get those. What I'm hearing is that you don't want to pay them for those days.
Correct.
Correct.
For
So-
unused days.
Okay, but if we're allowing, we're kind of giving mixed messages. We're saying, okay, you can carry over some days, but then if you decide to quit, you're not going to get any of those days.
I think it would encourage somebody to plan. I think the carryover is a benefit to people that stay with us, and they can manage those and maybe do something special in a year by taking more vacation days than normal.
Labor laws, are we allowed to do this? Okay.
I would prefer, my own opinion. Go ahead, Mr. Beckett.
No, please.
While you're walking. I'll talk while you walk, how's that? My thought, even as a teacher, but mostly we're talking about administrators, is that you're much happier if you take your vacations. If you don't take your vacation, you become cranky, and you're, I know you're looking at me like, really? And I think who it hurts in the end is our students. So I would prefer seeing administrators take all their vacation days in that year, because it's hard being an administrator, just like it's hard being a teacher. And I think it makes for happier work environments to encourage the staff to take those and to not carry them over. That's I'm thinking we want our kids to be happy in our classrooms, and if you've got someone who hasn't taken a vacation day for the entire school year, it gets kind of crappy. So I'm in favor of not changing the policy, is my, okay, Mr. Beckett, go.
The wage, and employees are due wages at the end if they terminate service with an organization. But sick leave and vacation leave are only dictated by either a policy or a practice by the employer, is not dictated by law. So we have the discretion either to pay out or not to pay out. That's your prerogative.
And what's in the contract?
That they'll be paid their wage.
Okay, so
Yeah,
nothing about
no-
vacation
nothing
time is
about
put
leave.
in their
Exactly,
contracts?
no.
Question. How, Dr. Chestnut, you just mentioned that it was, it could be a cost to the district. Is there an estimate of how much we would be losing? Do you have is this a common thing that teachers do this, where they'll cash out their vacation days, or are they taking their vacation?
Right, it wouldn't apply to teachers because they're not year-round employees.
I mean, administrator, I'm sorry.
Administrators,
Sure.
yeah.
I think that last year we had 2 administrators leave, and I think one of them cashed in 5 days and one cashed in, I believe, 19 or something like that. So it's not a huge sum of money by any means.
I would just like to encourage them to take their vacation, Mr. Abel. That's just me. I want a happy work environment, and I know that we've got dedicated administrators who want to work through vacation, but I would prefer that they've earned those vacation days, and I would like to see them, encourage them to take them during the school year.
Well, I mean, unless somebody has something else to add, I think I've got enough to bring something
Okay.
back. At least we can make a final decision
Okay.
at our next meeting, unless somebody has something else to add to that.
No, and that goes for B and C, right?
Correct.
So we
Yeah.
just covered both of those.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you very much. That brings us to our consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve consent agenda?
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving right along. 7A. This is our HR schedule. Mr. Beckett.
Dr. Chestnut, you have in front of you the personnel schedule for tonight, and I'll take your questions at this point.
No, go ahead, Mrs. Coutray. I know you've got questions.
Well, it kind of pertains to this because I noticed that we had a new position on there. It was one of those elementaries to reduce the class sizes. I just kind of want to know, I know we're just in the beginning of the school year and these class enrollments are just, the sizes are just coming in now, but what is the district's plan as far as shifting? Are we going to be hiring paras to help these large classes? Are we going to be splitting classes? Kind of when we're going to put this plan in effect?
Dr. Chestnut, is it okay if I answer that? Okay, yeah. At this point in time, for the last, I guess, 8 days now, we've been taking daily counts from all of our school sites. We have a pretty good idea of what each grade level looks like at the elementary, middle, and the high school. The plan is, at the end of 10 days, we scrutinize those very, very closely. We've already addressed 2 specific issues. We had one at Pima Butte, we had one at Butterfield. We saw that this was not a problem that was going to go away in 10 days, and so we ended up addressing both of those issues. Once again, we will address anything after that 10-day mark that exceeds into those target rates that we've established as the district.
Here for, it was the new position that we created,
Mm-hmm.
32.
Correct.
That was to reduce class sizes, but how is a teacher going to reduce class sizes? You've got 2 schools listed here. I'm just,
Let me tell you that thank you. It was a great question, Member Coutray. The decision was made to use the 3 positions that were allocated by the board to offset, to increase our special offering at our school site. The thinking was, if we have a grade level and we happen to allocate a teacher to that specific grade level, it affects maybe 3-4 teachers. We were able then to, with the addition of these 3 special teachers, able to actually increase the planning time, which has been an ongoing concern with our elementary teachers, for all of the teachers in all of our school sites. We've gone from 10 special teachers now to 13 special teachers, which will basically increase all of their prep time throughout the course of the week. And so, again, that was the allocation. That's what we ended up using those 3 teachers for, and number 32 is one of those positions.
you know, that has been one of the major issues. That's not how it was presented to the board when we voted on it. I was under the understanding that these were going to be teachers that were going to be in the grades, reducing class sizes, not adding planning time, which by no means, it is important, don't get me wrong, but I was just under the other impression.
Yeah, I think that's a valid concern. I think it came to the point where we had a relatively short time frame to make these decisions, and we went with what we thought would work the best. I think the main issue, I think Mr. Beckett referenced, and that is that we could help with those 3 additional teachers. We could help grade spans at 3 different grade spans, you know, out of a total of about 36 grade spans, 6 at each school, at least 6 or 7 at each school. So that's the challenge, and the additional prep time for elementary teachers was one of the items on the meet and confer list, and we felt like it was in the spirit of what we talked about for additional teachers at the elementary.
While we're on that subject, Mr. Beckett.
Yes.
So I'm all, you know, as a PE teacher, I'm all for more PE. You can't have enough PE. However, is this person, and my concern is that this is not a certified PE or art or music teacher, that is kind of a long-term sub to fill that position. This isn't going to be a permanent fix, is it? I mean, I just don't want to see us go back to hiring non-certified teachers, because we want to strive for highly effective teachers in all subject areas. Because I'm going to put a plug in, if you've got a certified teacher who's trained in PE and music and art, they reinforce what the classroom teacher's doing. And so our students are learning all the time. It's not recess time. So my concern is that we're going to go back to the way things were 6-7 years ago.
Thank you.
Am I being paranoid, or are we cool?
You're not being paranoid,
Okay.
President Anderson. I appreciate the comment. This particular position, we felt was going to be our utility position. This individual has had experience both teaching art, music, and PE at the elementary level. She is certified, and she is under a term contract. We understand the conditions of that situation. This is a short-term solution.
Okay.
We're hoping that we can find a long-term solution as of next year. We were pressed to make this hire, and we felt like we've made the best choice available for the district at this point.
Okay.
Term contract?
Term contracts effective for 1 year only, and so there's no predisposition that they're going to receive another renewal like a typical teacher would. You're welcome.
I was just paranoid that we were going to start replacing and start having recess instead of teaching time. Okay.
That will not be the case.
Thank you for indulging me.
You're
I do have
welcome.
one other question.
You bet.
All of the paras that have decided not to take their positions, can we look at another solution to keep them hired? I know I know that we made some changes a couple years ago. The board directed staff to make some changes in how we hire paras and how we give them hours. However, it's really hard. I'm seeing over and over during the year that paras, which are important for teachers who have large class sizes and
Exactly.
for our, our SPED classes,
Exactly.
and it's hard to train them. So I'm just going to ask if we can look at another solution. You tried what the board asked, and I appreciate that, but maybe we need to look at some other solution in order to keep qualified paraprofessionals in the classrooms.
Right. Thank you.
I mean, they work hard. I know they do, but I would like to see if there's some way we can remedy that over the next, because you don't have anything else to do.
The reality is, again, I think we understand the recruitment and retention paraprofessionals
Yes.
is an ongoing
Yes.
struggle for us in this district. And, they're 29.5 hours for the majority. They're not benefited positions. And it is a struggle. I wish we could afford benefits for all of them. I wish we could afford to give 40-hour a week. We just cannot afford at this point in time. So it does present a challenge. And again, because of the nature of the position at will, this actually is a benefit to the district to a certain degree. We don't have to go
Right.
through a due process if there's have to be a termination that takes place. So it's a challenge. But again, I understand what you're saying, and I guess we'll look for solutions.
Okay.
Was there something that happened, right, I mean, because you look at the dates on these things, and they're all kind of like really close into the date. So was there a change of direction or something that just kind of like these people did not agree with, and they all decided to jump ship at the same time?
Not that I'm aware of. It's just,
Okay.
it was right at the report date. So it's just the time they were supposed to show up. They finally made a decision they're not coming back.
And we can't assess them like we can assess the teachers?
No. Well, it'd be difficult to, I mean, how do we would have to almost ask them to pay us from,
Okay.
there's no wages we can pull that from. It
Okay.
would be a challenge to
Okay.
make that kind of.
Just to add a minor thought. Mr. Beck kind of alluded to this. One of the big challenges is that so many of our parapros are 29 and a half hours. They're not receiving benefits. This was a concern that's been identified by the Meet and Confer Committee. It was one of their priorities to say, let's see if we can't get more 29 and a half hour paras up to full time, because they're going to be more likely to stay. And we can't afford to do that like across the board, but we certainly consider each case. And there are times when we need a para for 40 hours. And I know that there's probably about 3 more paras at 40 hours this year than last year. And so, I mean, we do look at those, and when it's appropriate, we do that. So I am certain that paras with the 40-hour contract and benefits are going to be more likely to stay.
Is there a way to offer a benefit package that they could also buy into? It wouldn't be like a full support, like we wouldn't be absorbing the entire costs as a district, but something that they could buy into? I mean, if they can get some benefits, I think that's a huge that's the huge deterrent, I think, here, is that they don't get benefits. But if they can get them at a reduced rate, and it's not costing us the full boat,
Right.
is there any way we can do that?
Potentially. I remember, Member Cottrell, about 4 or 5 years ago, we actually looked at a mini-med program. No participation. They really weren't interested, and with the ACA, with the exchange now available, it probably would actually be cheaper for an employee in that situation to go through the exchange than it would for us to come up with an option for them. But again, that's something we can look at. I can certainly ask the Bagnell Company, our insurance broker, on options.
Okay.
So, Mr. Beckett, just want, oh, sorry, do you have something? Go ahead.
These paraprofessionals that have resigned, do we have them replaced, or do you have,
Well,
I mean, I looked down on the list, but they didn't seem like they were all.
Yeah, we are working on that.
No. Yeah, some of them are back.
There are a number of,
Some of
yes,
them,
that have.
yeah.
We still have some openings though as well. Those in UNTV land, we are still recruiting for
Yeah.
pairs.
I just want to clarify for those listening and for people that aren't up to date on what we did. I do remember about 3 years ago, the board made a decision in order to put more teachers in the classroom to cut the paraprofessionals to part-time instead of full-time, because we felt that our funds needed to be put into the classroom and hire more teachers. So I just wanted to clarify that's why it is that way. Is that correct?
It is
Or
correct.
did I just completely lie?
You are exactly
Okay.
right, President Anderson.
Yes, yeah, so, okay. So any other questions for Mr. Beckett?
No.
Good discussion. Any motions?
I'll motion to approve.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Beckett.
Thank you.
7B, discussion and possible approval of the 2015 political agenda recommended by the Legislative Committee to be submitted to the Arizona School Board Association. Do you want me to go? Okay. This is me. I asked this to be put on here. I am part of the Arizona School Board Association Legislative Committee. We have already met and discussed on what we want to focus on for the legislative session, which will be coming up starting in January. And it'll run January through February and sometimes into March, depending on how many times they have to call back into session. So a number of items are the same. So I was going to open it up to board members. We do need to vote on this. If you approve the long-term, the short-term, and the session-specific. And what the difference is for those that are listening, session-specific are items that we are going to focus on in this legislative session. And those were recommended because those are things we know that we can have an influence on and that we can change as we know some of the bills that are going to start coming down the pike. That's what session-specific means. The short-term, the time was given about 3 years. There are times when a session item will come up and a bill will come up that some of those from the short-term items will need to be moved over, and they can plug those into session-specific. But short-term are ones that usually, because of a financial obligation, like all-day kindergarten, it's a little bit harder to convince them to put that money into it. And then long-term, and the biggest long-term item that we continue to focus on is education finance reform, that the finance formula needs to be updated. It's no longer effective, and so that has been an item that has been a heated topic and long time coming. However, because that also comes with a huge financial package, that is what we put in the long term, which we hope to accomplish within 5 years. It'd be great if we could get it done in 3 years, but being realistic, and especially this being an election year where we're having all new representatives voted in, new governor, some things are going to change. So that is why those items are on long term. So with that explanation, do I have any questions from board members or Dr. Chestnut?
I have a couple.
Sure.
So the kindergarten went from being a session-specific.
We did move it. We did move it back to session specific. If you saw on there at the bottom.
Huh? On the 2015 draft? It's under short-term.
It's under short term because of the money. But if the opportunity came up for ASBA's lobbyists to plug it
Okay.
in, they're working with some representatives to write some
Okay.
bills that will support that, but it does come with a huge dollar figure, and so it's millions of dollars that we're still trying to get our 301 money out of them.
Well, and that was my next question. Number 3 is the inflation.
Mhm.
Now, isn't that going to be session-specific, or are they going to try to hide that?
It will certainly come up in topic. However, if we can't get a representative to pen a bill that will support that, certainly we're starting to build those partnerships now. But with this being an election year, we just thought that with the new people coming on board, that it was a little more realistic to have that in short term. But we would love to bump it up if that opportunity comes up. I mean, if, we've got some locals running that could possibly pen a bill and get that going.
And then the last question I have was number 11 under the session-specific. Is there really legislation out there for that, or should that be under short-term?
What page are you on? 8.
It's, I don't know, it's lead efforts to align Arizona's accountability system with the criteria desired for student, school, and district success. Now, I know it's important, but is there going to be legislation for that, or should that be moved to short-term?
Right now, there's such an argument with the accountability system because there have been representatives who have canceled the funding.
Oh, I
And
know.
so it's been a real battle. So the rationale for that was not only will Arizona be choosing a new assessment, but as we have seen with recent issues on the change in the traditional A through F high school model, because they were trying to change that accountability, which Dr. Chestnut went and spoke
Right.
about that there are changes happening as to what should and shouldn't be measured. And so it's really hard to assess whether or not we'll be able to get Arizona's accountability system and the criteria desired. But it's certainly, we're going to try.
Okay, those are the only questions I had. It's just,
Those are good questions. I would love to see all of it. I would love to see the state pay for all-day kindergarten. I would love to see the state give the teachers their full 301 money, which we've been fighting in litigation for the past, since '06. The judge has awarded schools that the state needs to pay back the 301 money. However, they're challenging that again. So,
me personally, I would like to see the fund, the full-day kindergarten in session-specific, especially with meeting those letter grades and the standards that it is extremely important, and they've had studies to prove it, that having all-day kindergarten helps those students.
I agree. But it was a heated discussion, believe me, when you had 30 school
I know.
board members
It's gonna be
in
a
there
heated
and a couple
discussion on the delegate
superintendents.
assembly, too.
Like I say, certainly the all-day kindergarten is a hot topic. The reason, and we will certainly try to get it into the session specific if the funding comes through. But the big thing is convincing them to fund it because it's millions of dollars. In order for the state to pay for full-day kindergarten is what Mrs. Coutre is talking about. It says fund voluntary full-day kindergarten and include kindergarten students in the override calculation. Because right now, when you run for a calculation, they don't include kindergarten students. So those are the changes that we are advocating for. Certainly, we would love to have that in our session specific, and we can certainly, when you go to before the delegate, you can certainly ask that, and you could probably get a vote on it. And I think that there is support to move that into session specific. And Janice with ASBA and Chris, the attorney, also felt that there is a chance that it could be put into this session and definitely pushed forward.
So tonight, you want us just to approve this?
Yes. Yes.
Questions, and we can't, there's no changes, nothing, we just have to approve what's going on.
You can approve it as written, and then when you come to the delegate assembly on
Then you can
September
voice
6th,
your concerns and comments.
then you
and-
can certainly, because Patty is the delegate and you're the alternate this year. So what will happen is when that item comes up, because each item will have to be approved and voted on by the entire
Right.
body of school board members. And so at that point, Patty will come up, if she's in there. If she happens to leave the room, you'll have to come up, and you'll have to bring that before the legislative committee and the body of board members to vote on.
Okay.
And then the legislative committee will be sitting up front, and then we will speak to the rationale on that. But But you can
Yeah.
certainly at that point bring that up for a vote.
Okay, good.
Absolutely.
Just checking for understanding. Good.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, I'm ready. Bring it on.
Okay, do I have any motions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. I appreciate your input and your comments, and keep it going. All right, 7C, Dr. Chestnut, discussion and possible approval to conduct an annual review of Indian Education Policy, IHBJ, and its procedures.
Policy requires we do an annual review. We don't recommend any changes. And if the board does not recommend any changes, I believe we can approve this tonight on, as an action item, and that would, it's not like a normal policy that normally has changes on it, right? So unless there's any changes requested, this would be the final reading.
Changes, does anybody? Okay, any motions?
Move to approve the policy.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. 7D, discussion and possible approval of the resolution to allow homeschool students to participate in extracurricular programs. Dr. Chestnut.
As you know, we have a new athletic director in Maricopa Unified School District this year, Mark Cisterna, who just happens to be in the audience tonight. And he brought to my attention something I did not know, and that is that the board needs to make an annual decision on whether or not we want to include homeschool students in extracurricular activities at the high school level. Activities that are governed by the Arizona Interscholastic Association, AIA. And so this is something we'll be bringing to you from now on. It has been our past practice to allow homeschool students to participate. And we think that my recommendation, Mr. Cisterna's recommendation would be that we continue that, but we do need to make it official with the governing board. Just to kind of give additional information, there's kind of a new wrinkle in this, and that is that online students would need similar permission. So a student involved in Pinnacle or Primavera, one of those online programs, are not automatically eligible to participate in athletics at Maricopa High School. So we have purposely left out online students. Homeschool students are the only exception at this point in time. The rationale to that is that, you know, I personally believe that students that attend our schools should have the first opportunity to participate in athletics. And online students would have the opportunity to enroll if they wanted to do that. So that's the gist of the recommendation, and I actually would invite Mr. Cisterna to come to the podium and give us any additional thoughts, or at the very least, introduce himself to the governing board officially. I got to say, it's very great to have him on board, and he's doing a great job, and he's really jumped right in and doing good work for us as our district athletic director.
Welcome.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. The biggest issue that we have with this right now is with coming on in July, that this, for any, if the board chooses to do any virtual online students, to allow them that are enrolled in charter schools to come to our school and participate in athletics, we had to do it prior to the start of the school year. So realistically, what we're doing is looking at this for the following year. I've unfortunately had to tell a few of our kids that have played in the past that they're not allowed to play. Just it's an AIA violation or a bylaw that we're not allowed to have them play. So if we do allow them in the future, it would be by board regulation or policy.
Students that participate in the sports at the middle school level. Do we have to have a separate resolution for the middle school?
No, we're just governed at the high school level by the bylaw.
Okay.
I believe we have state statutes with homeschool students. So our homeschool students, as long as their residence is in our unified school district, then they are allowed to participate.
Okay.
It's the online or virtual students that we have to, virtual online students that are in charter schools that we have to be careful with. So.
Well, this brings up a question. I know that there are, I do know of kids who are considered homeschool, but they attend the online Pinnacle school. do you have a plan for that? Or,
Yeah, actually,
I
I
see where it just says homeschool, so does that kind
right,
of
yeah, and that's
cover it? Okay.
that's a tricky definition,
Okay.
and I actually had some correspondence with the
Okay.
AIA the last couple of days, and if it's all right, can I
Yes,
just read it to you?
please, that would be, because
Okay.
that was my question as well. We've got some that are considered homeschool, but they're
Yeah, and it's a
attending.
definition. They
Okay.
actually have to have an affidavit. The homeschool have to have an affidavit with the Pinal County School Superintendent. They
Okay.
have to be enrolled in that. And then I'll just go ahead and
Okay.
read it says, the AIA staff is defined a homeschool student as a student that will not receive their diploma from an online charter school or any chartered public or private school. They receive their instruction at home, and diploma will be based on evaluation by the homeschool instructor per plan filed with County Superintendent of Instruction.
Okay.
That's what separates the Pinnacles from
Okay.
the homeschool teaching that
All
our
right.
parents do. It's really just ballooned in the last 3
Yeah.
years, to be honest with you, and it's just something that we have, as a district, need to address how you want to go with that.
Okay. No, because I know we've allowed them to play, but I know AIA has changed the rules.
Correct.
So I'm glad it's coming before us to clarify that. Now, they just pay all the fees and everything like a
Well,
regular
right now,
student, right?
we haven't established anything. The AIA has, they've given the district, if we choose to let the virtual online charter school, we can charge them whatever. Mr. Roush and I were talking earlier, we were going to take our number of participating athletes in our schools and what we spend in athletics, transportation, stipends, equipment, and maybe divide it up and come up with a cost. But right now, the cost would just be the participation fee.
The activity fees?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, pay-to-play fees, okay. Okay, no, I would like to be able to offer that to homeschool students. So you're recommending that this is written well? Okay. Any other discussion or motions?
Move to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Cisterna, for coming in. I appreciate it. All right. That brings us to item 8. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. It is 7:53. Thank you for being here.